Good afternoon and welcome to Venice for this second live. For my presentation, I can remove the mask. Here is Luca again speaking directly from Venice. I don't know if you already know me. I'm a true Venetian, born Venetian, still living in the city. And today I am particularly happy because the difference from the first live is I can show you, instead of my face, the secret corners of Venice. So in the meantime, we wait all the viewers. I will do a kind of summary of the itinerary. Of course, during this walk, I have to dress this mask, as the city, the Veneto region, is actually open, but we have always to respect the COVID-19 restrictions. So we can move anywhere, but always dressing the mask. And as you can see, my mask is very Venetian. It has the flying lion, symbol of San Mark, symbol of the Venetian Republic. Thanks again to Travel Curious for this great opportunity to share, of course, the passion I have for Venice and the uniqueness of my city through my eyes. So, Giovanni, how many viewers we have?
58.
Perfect. I think we are kind of ready to start this fantastic walking tour. First of all, the summary. We're gonna discover the two most authentic districts of Venice, such as San Polo and Santa Croce. Plus, at the end, I'll have a surprise for you, because we're gonna enter in the carnival atmosphere. We're gonna touch a small area of Venice where there are the last mask makers, and the surprise will be you will have the opportunity to visit live through our eyes an original carnival mask artisan and atelier. Let's start. How is the audio, first of all? Can you hear me very well? It's going well, the audio?
Commenti dopo.
Okay. So, we are entering into the old trade center of the city. We are entering in the old Wall Street. The old Wall Street was here, was in Venice. Have a look at the white sign, because today we kind of follow the Nisioetti. Nisioetti are these small white signs saying the name of the street, the name of the bridge, the name of the square, and this one says Sottoportego del Banco Giro. What does it mean? Sottoportego means a cover street. That's a Sottoportego. Del Banco means of the bank, and Giro, like Giro d'Italia, means to turn. As all these little bars once were little banks. And here, the first bank was opened in the year 1157. Of course, at the beginning were just private banks, and very often they were failing every 2-3 years. That's why the Republic of Venice, in 1525, they opened Banco Giro, the Giro Bank, a public bank with the deposits guaranteed by the state. Not the Italian state, of course, but the Venetian Republic. And Giro Bank was a kind of old check. You know, a check. Now we don't even use it because of credit cards but once you were simply visiting a bank and you were transferring the amount of money from an account to the other one without any cash or coins movement. The first checks ever over here. And come with me, because in this very small area of Venice, mostly frequented by Venetians, because all these are the most famous bars for the Aperol spritz. Even during the main season, even when the city is crowded, this area is still kind of undiscovered, but it's the most important camp of Venice. Of course, all the questions, I tap it on the top part of the screen, all the questions at the end we're gonna have about 10-15 minutes inside the mask maker atelier for any question you have. Then have a look in front of us. In front of us we have Sanjakto Church, the first church built in Venice, the 25th of March of the year 421 after Christ, as the legend says. Was the day the city of Venice was born, when this small group of fishermen moved here in this small island of the lagoon, known as Rivus Altus. That means deep canal. because the canal on the side of this island was the Canal Grande, the deepest canal of the city of Venice. And that's why the interesting fact is that for the Venetian Republic, the year started not the 1st of January, but the 25th of March. Secondly, have a look at the clock over there. The clock is dated back in the 1400 and was a very important clock because it was marking the time of the market. Plus it has 24 Roman numbers, not 12, 24. And there is a sun in the middle. But between the sun and the numbers, there is a kind of yellow-gray circle, all damaged. It's supposed to be blue with the moon phases. Why? Was the only techniques Venetians had in the past to understand the tide. Now we use the iPhone once, having look at the 24 hours and the moon phases. 6 hours coming up and 6 hours down. 6 hours up and 6 hours down. Now we go close to a very interesting point. La Fiera del Bando. Come with me. Sorry for anticipating the tour of 1 hour, but we're gonna have a storm in 1 hour. That's why we are even lucky the city is kind of empty. Have a look here. Here there are some stairs and then a column. Because from this column, the Republic of Venice banned the laws. And from here, they were even announcing the departure of the galleys to the Middle East. So it was even an occasion for sailors to find a job. But this column was even used for very bad news. It was a kind of newspaper. Twice a week, a guy was coming here just to announce the news. News like, Mr. Luca he didn't pay taxes for 2 months. He will be beheaded or decapitated in San Marco Square. If you want to see this event, just come to the square. And here imagine the square full of merchants, nobles, and citizens just to hear the news of the day. It was like kind of bad newspaper of Venice. But come closer to this guy, El Gobbo di Venezia, the hunchback of Venice. Have a look at his face. He's not very happy. First of all, we say because it had to sustain all the Venetian news, mostly crime and bad news, so very heavy. And secondly, because after being flogged from San Marco to Rialto, all the convicted thieves and evildoers, they had to come here, and as a punishment, they had to kiss the statue. So he was not very happy to receive this kiss from them. That's why the Republic of Venice moved the story into another point. This is very interesting even for Venetians. I don't know if they have never noticed this crucifix over here. The Republic decided to engrave a crucifix into the marble, so the evildoers and convicted thieves arriving here, they had to kiss the crucifix, so the sign of the crucifix could mark their mouth. Another important information. I really would like to transmit you the atmosphere we had in this square. Here we're coming, as I told you, sailors to find a job into a galley, departing to the Middle East. But even nobles were coming here to invest their money and to expand their trades. And even merchants that were coming from all over. They were coming here speculating about spices, about pepper, about salt, and about any product. So this little square was like the old international stock exchange. We are not joking. Let's continue. Behind this part is an area of Venice where we still have Rialto Market. We have the Naranjeria, the oranges market, Frutteria, the fruit and vegetable market, Casaria, the dairy products market, Herbaria, spices market, Pescaria, fish market, and Beccaria, the meat product market. And this very tiny covered street was an important street because all these shops, they were kind of workshops for the artisans. They were working gold, they were working silver and diamonds and all the prestigious stones. So even here you have the representation. S and O are the letters of their corporation. And now I'm gonna take you into another secret part. Because I know I have many friends in Venice, you walk around the city and you discover something new every single day. Get prepared in 30 seconds for this story, because I'm gonna take you in a very old church, of course now unfortunately closed to the public and not frequented anymore, but was one of the most frequented churches by merchants. San Giacometto and San Giovanni Elemosinaro was even a kind of charity church. But why then it became so important? In the 1300s, this church, it became one of the most frequented thanks to Marco Polo. Have a look. This one was the entrance of the church. And the story says that here, in front of the church, in front of the entrance, there was a chain sustaining a copy of the Million of Marco Polo. That was the first guided book ever. So, you know, Marco Polo was a Venetian merchant, the first one who discovered the East. He went to China, to Mongolia, and then when he got in the prisons, he was staying in the prisons of Genoa, he wrote the famous Million. The name Million comes from the nickname of Polo family, that was Emilione. And here there was a copy of El Million, the first guidebook ever, because merchants, before their trip to the Middle East, they were coming here simply reading the book just to get prepared for their trip. And another invention was made over here in a very tiny street on the right. I know for sure that will be a surprise even for some friends of mine, for some Venetians. We have Ramo dell'occhialer. Ramo is the branch of a tree. Dell'occhialer means, occhialer, it means kind of eyeglasses. Because in this tiny street, a Venetian artisan in the 1275 invented the first eyeglasses. Now, I have a test for all of you, because we are entering behind Rialto Market, in an area of Venice full of trattorias and osterias. What's the difference? Because now these two words are used all over the world just to say a local restaurant. But trattoria, yes, is a local restaurant specialized in very local food and big portions. Osteria comes from the word oste. An oste was a man specialized in wines. So in an osteria, they were serving you only local wine, no food. My grandfather told me. Well, after 3 glasses of wine, they were giving you some bread, Luca. But for them it was a kind of investment, so then you could drink more. Osteria wine, trattoria food. Remember this information for the test. It's a real test. The first one is gonna answer in the comments my question, who can drink a spritz with me? I will offer him a spritz. Come. Have a look. The shape of this door, and you need to tell me, in your opinion, why this door has this different shape. I just need one word. If you do not answer, we're gonna stay here in front of this door the entire day. Have a look the shape of the door and tell me, in your opinion, why this door has this different shape. I'm waiting for your answer. Let me see. Very good. Giraffe Hog, the first one. She said the barrel. Yes, this one was the barrel door, because this one was the start of the osteria. So the hoste, the man specialized in wines, he decided to make the shape of the door with the same shape of a barrel, just to roll the barrel inside and roll it outside if needed. No, siamo veneziani, è un video live che stiamo facendo. Tranquillo, ciao! So we only have a few doors like this, the barrel doors of Venice, still in the city, the undiscovered barrel doors of Venice. And here, behind this barrel door, in this tiny street, we have the entrance of one of the most famous Venetian bakery. And now even restaurant, Antico Dolo. This is the secret entrance for Venetians. Then they are very lucky because on the opposite side, they even have the entrance on the main street. But get prepared because now I'm gonna show you one of the most important techniques, architecture techniques of the city. The famous barbacani. Barbacani in Italian and Venetian, barbacane in English. What's a barbacano, a barbacane? Barbacani are these wooden beams coming out of a meter starting from the first floor that permits to increase the floor from the first level without obstructing the narrow streets of Venice. This is a barbacano. These projecting beams just increasing the floor space. So the building is coming out. They can have more space starting from the first floor and leaving open the passage on the street. Then we have another important architecture technique, an arch. This arch is so common, even in very tiny streets, because the arch permits to leave, the buildings in Venice are kind of leaning, to leave the weight in the middle of the arch, kind of sustaining the building. But get prepared for a leaning element. Now we're gonna walk. We're gonna walk and you're gonna start to see La Tortastorta, the leaning door of Venice. And this is common for us. In Venice, all the city is kind of leaning because our foundations, they built the city on the water. We have hundreds of natural islands, and under us, the foundations of Venice are still composed by wooden poles straightly into the mud. So it depends when and how the floor petrified. That's why these parts are more leaning compared to the other ones. It depends when the foundations were built. And here there are actually still, as you see, kind of leaning, there are still 3 families living here. It's normal for us. Now we enter in a very hot part of the tour because we are entering into the old red light district of Venice. Why the old red light district of Venice? It all started in the 1400s because in Venice, in the 1400s, we had the highest level of homosexuals people living in the city. That now it's something normal. But once, in a Catholic city like Venice, they were killing you for this, you know. It was even a big dishonor for the Republic, but was something reasonable. Because imagine merchants spending 1, 2, 3, 4 months and even a year inside a galley with only men. You could imagine what was happening. That's why the Doge, he decided to open the casinos. Pay attention, because casino without accent on the O. As I told you in the first slide, casino with the accent on the O is the place for gambling. Casino without accent means a courtesan house. And a casino was a palace. You were going inside the palace. You were dancing with courtesans. They were very well dressed with carnival clothes, with masks for privacy. You were even having dinner with them. Only at the end, each one was going to his room. So it was a kind way to do it. Imagine in the 1500s, in Venice, we had 11,000 courtesans working in Venice. 11,000. Was a job. Was the main job. They were controlled by doctors, they were paying taxes, and they were making money. But I have to stop here, because we are not in a normal street. Here we are in a Rio Terra. That means canal bricked, filled up. And in Venice, in the 1800s, many canals, they started to be closed, they removed all the water, and they started to fill the canal with normal bricks. How you can recognize this? From this door. Have a look. I am taller than the door, you see? Because this one was not a normal door for a walking street, it was a water entrance. Get prepared again. Because now we are in the middle of the red light district, we continue to discuss about courtesans, and then I will have some very interesting stories on the right and on the left. courtesans, they had specific rules to follow. For example, they couldn't frequent bars and restaurants. They could go out only on Saturday and always dressing a yellow scarf, just to mark themselves. And secondly, they couldn't try or entice clients during Christmas, during Easter, or during religious events. But before continuing talking about courtesans, I would like even to explain you another second secret, very interesting even for Venetians. On the facade of many different palaces, there are strange decorations representing animals, but different animals, and mostly animals fighting, like the ones you see over here. Have a look. You see these animals, one over there, and over there. This one was a technique for the Venetian noble families to protect the palace from the devil, from the evil souls. Instead of having guards and locks, they were simply representing on the facade of the palace marbles with animals fighting. It was a way to protect the palace from the devil. Very interesting, right? And over here, in the meantime, the guy is opening his motor after a very long winter. I would like to introduce you another important Venetian old figure. El Codega. Who was El Codega? Well, now I can be a kind of Codega when I do a night tour. Why? Because El Codega was the night guide of Venice. Venice in the past was kind of unsafe by night. There were no many lights. There were just some little capitals with a small light in some tiny streets with small lanterns. So that's why in sottoporticos like this, in covered streets like this one over here, at the entrance, there was always a Codega, a night man, always there with a lantern to guide you to your house, to your home, just to be safe. Unfortunately, when the electricity arrived then in the city, in the 1800s, the Codegas disappeared from Venice. They lost their job. Now, get prepared for another story. It's a story about my life, my childhood. Here, as you can see, there are some people working on the streets. The maintenance of Venice, it's so hard, so expensive, and every day you walk around the city, you see always people working on the floor. So, as you can see, all the tubes are under us. They are fixing maybe the electricity or the gas system. Ciao.
Ciao, ragazzi.
But why this place is part of my life, I can say? Because this palace on your left was my primary school. And a school in Venice is inside a palace. So we don't have any basketball yard or soccer yard or I don't know, any big gym. For us, our way is we play in the camp, in front of the palace. So this is where and how me and friends of mine, how Venetians grew up in the city. I show you. The goal for the goalkeeper was from there. You see even here the sign, this is fresh. There was mine 15 years ago. Now a new one. This one was the goal for the goalkeeper. Here, there, and here playing. For the half an hour break, but even after school. Then we were even playing the famous hopscotch. Hopscotch without touching the lines. We don't even have to paint anything. We just follow the bricks. That's why now I'm kind of sad because of technology, because the city is becoming too expensive. Many Venetian families moved from the city. They moved to the mainland. So squares like this that once were completely crowded, now they are empty. And it's so sad for me. Since I was 3 years old, I was going all over the city with my friends, with my brother, 5 years older. We were 25 kids playing throughout Venice. And this is why now we are the last Venetians and we can say we know the city like our hands, because only getting lost when you are a kid, you can explore and discover the labyrinth of Venice. Now, after this kind of sad story, I take you back with the red touch into the red light district of Venice. This is even one of the main suggestions I have for you. If you come to Venice, don't follow always the main streets. Don't follow the shops. Because if you turn, like we did, we are in the center, 5 minutes from Rialto, you can really discover the authenticity of Venice. And we are now in another Riotera, in another canal bricked. But this one has a specific name. Is Riotera delle Carambane, the canal brick of the Carambane. Now Venetians, they start to laugh, because Carambane is a synonym of courtesans, of prostitutes. But why Carambane? Carambane comes from ca-si-e rampani. Comes from casa, that in Italian is a house. But a house in Venice is a palace. So always when you see ca-si-e means palace. Cadario, Calabria, Carezzonico, they were all palaces. And Rampani, Rampani, was the surname of the family that was living in the house, as you can see on the sign over there. Riotera delle Carambane. But why this casino became the most famous one? We go on top of the bridge. Are you enjoying the tour? How is the audio? Is the sound good? Anyway, have a look at the white sign. The white sign says Sestiere de San Polo district, and Ponte delle Tette, the bridge of the boobs. Because once this one was a casino, and on the two windows over there, always were staying two courtesans showing the boobs, just to try to entice some clients, to entice merchants. You don't even know how many merchants they were falling on this bridge. And secondly, it all started here in the 1400s, but then courtesans became so famous in Venice. In the 1600s, we had even many young courtesans. So the Carambane, this casino, became kind of old, was frequented only by the old courtesans. That's why then Venetians, in the 1600s, they said that the boobs of the Carambane, as they were kind of old, they were arriving from the windows up to the floor. After this funny part, now we enter in another great and happy atmosphere. Have a look, the uniqueness of this canal. We are in a very quiet part of Venice, but still in the center. And here, I really would like to explain you the phenomenon of the Venetian Carnival and of the art comedy, la commedia dell'arte. Because the art comedy was invented, was kind of named and created by Carlo Galdonia, a very famous playwright, in 1750. But before 1750, even in the 1500s, the name was not commedia dell'arte, but was commedia all'italiana, commedia all'improvviso. Well, because the characters, they were simply following they were following kind of canvas, and then they were acting in the middle of a street, between a bridge and a campo, they were acting inside some palaces, and they were always changing their way to act. Carlo Goldoni, he introduced 3 renovations, known as the revolution of Carlo Goldoni. The first one was that characters, they were considered actors, so not simply characters, as they were bringing their art into the scene, and they started to act inside theaters. So in the 1750, we have the first theaters of Venice. Before, the only way was they were acting on the streets. The second revolution was Carlo Goldoni, he started even to have as actors women, because before, even the woman characters, they were represented by men actors. With Carlo Goldoni, women, they became actors. The third revolution was a very important one, because an actor had to assume the same character for his entire life. So character and actor became a unique thing for all the actor life. These were the three main revolutions of Commedia dell'arte. And many masks of the Venetian Carnival are part of the art comedy, such as the Pantalone, that was the Venetian with the big nose. Arlecchino was not Venetian. Arlecchino was a servant coming from Bergamo, and he was even speaking differently. He was speaking the Gramelot, that was another language. No one could understand him. And then a Venetian lady, our love, Colombina, Arlecchino, he was too in love with Colombina. She was very intelligent because she was trying to seduce Pantalone. But she was even in love with Arlecchino. Before visiting now the Carnival atelier, we are very close, I would like even to explain you the difference and how Carnival was born. Because the first Carnival started in the year 1162. When Venetians started to celebrate, they started to dance and gather in San Marco Square, celebrating a victory of the Venetian Republic against the Patriarchs of Aquileia. So then, the Republic established this event. They decided that during a specific period of the year, poor people and noble people, they had to feel free. They had to consider themselves free. Was the best way to cut the social differences. So it was the best way even for poors to show their own personality. They were simply going around the city dancing, dressing a mask, and in the past, the Venetian Carnival started the 26th of December, and it was ending 40 days before Easter, so it was a kind of 6 weeks. Even thought Venetians were celebrating from October, so 6 months of events. Now it's only about 10 days. And before visiting the atelier, I'll have another secret for you. The well. Because anywhere you go around Venice is always full of wells in the middle of the squares with different shapes, different inscriptions, different reliefs. But why a well? Because Venice was a city built on the water but without water. So how we could have the drinkable water in the past? The only way was catching the rainwater. But the rainwater, not directly here into the well. It was not enough. We had to maximize all the water falling on the floor. That's why there are here these marbles located on a kind of square to collect all the water. And under us, there is a cistern composed by 4 meters of different sand to filter the water from the sides and canalize the water in the middle. So once there, you had the filtered water. But now the secret. Noble families living inside these palaces, they had the private well inside. In Venice, in the 1800s, there were 6,046 wells and private and 180 public, only 180. For the public ones, twice a day, only the priest of the community where the well was, only the priest, he could come here, take the water from the well and distribute the water to the population. Only the priest. If I was coming here by myself, by night, taking the water, one day, for the second time, beheaded, decapitated in San Marco Square. Because the water in Venice was life. And we had many problems of poison. Now, before the Carnival mask maker, I have the last story, the last secret for my Venetians and for clients that will visit Venice about the flying lion, like the one in my mask. Because you walk around the city and you see now marbles representing the flying lion like the one in the palace everywhere. It was a way for the Republic to mark that the family was a noble Venetian family, part of the Grand Council. But when Napoleon arrived here in 1797, he ordered to remove all the lions representing the Venetian noble families. You see the lion over there. This one was removed, not in the 1797 by Napoleon, but hundreds of years before, in the 1310, during an insurrection guided by Tiepolo family and Querini family. some Venetian families, they kind of wanted to transform the republic into a monarchy with a signore. And when they catch them the night before, the worst dishonor was, of course, Marco Querini was even killed, but Bagiamonte Tiepolo no. And they decided to remove the lion representing the nobility of the family from the facade of his palace. That was the biggest dishonor for a Venetian noble family, because you were not part anymore of the list of the noble families of Venice. Now, after this kind of half an hour tour, you are ready for the special part of the tour, for the surprise. We're gonna visit one of the last mask makers of Venice, Mr. Ama. He's a friend of mine since I was running throughout the city over here, since I was 3 years old. And unfortunately, there are now in the city about 6-7 artisans that they still make the carnival masks from the first step till the end by hand. We're gonna visit him. Come with me. Connessione? Welcome to Ama Atelier. We are in the middle of the carnival atmosphere. And in the meantime, Ama will come. I would like to introduce you the 3 most important carnival masks. The first one, and very famous,
Sorry che...
the Doctor of the Plague mask. This mask, it became super famous due to the plagues we had in Venice. We had many plagues in the city. So doctors, they were going around the city and they had to check. If you had the plague, they were taking you in another island of the lagoon known as Lazzaretto just to preserve, just to protect the city from the epidemic. So the nose here, as you can see, was full of spices and herbs just to filter the breath. The Doctor of the Plague mask. And this mask became famous even because they were known as the men of the death. Because if you had not the plague and they were saying yes, they could take you in the other part of the lagoon, in the Lazzaretto, where you were simply dying. The connection?
Si dice che era un po' basso, ma manca rete, dice.
Ok, ci mettiamo qua.
Sì. Teniamo aperta la porta.
No, va bene così. Sì, se ti dice connessione. How is the connection? Is good? You like it?
Manca rete.
Yes.
Doctor Mask.
Tu sei sempre lì. And this one, this is La Bauta. La Bauta was a mask who became super famous with the hat thanks to Casanova, but was a mask dressed by many people in Venice because it permits to maintain your privacy. You see, you can't recognize me. Plus, due to this part, it even changed your voice, so more privacy. La Bauta. Venetians, me, my friends, Gianmarco, Matteo, and even my brother Alvise and Giovanni, we still used to dress La Bauta during Carnival. The third mask I would like to introduce you, and then we can see Mr. Ama working, is this one.
Yes.
La Moretta. This mask, it's so simple. There is no decoration. But how could you dress it? The only way was biting it. You see there is a bottom over here, so simply biting it. Have a look, Ama. He's dressing the mask simply biting. Was a mask dressed by servants and by women when they had to go out, because they couldn't talk. And now I can even explain you a process of them, all the steps of the masks. We're gonna see Mr. Ama making the first step. You see, he has the glue on the right hand and the paper mache. made with paper and wool. And here he has the stampo, the kind of print, the shape of the mask, made of course always by him. You see how it comes. This is really the first step he's making. He's just pressing the paper mache into the shape of the mask. And then it has to dry for about 3 days, even more. And once it's dried, are you enjoying the process? There are not many artisans working the mask like this, still with this very original and old technique, because it's a long process. It's a process that goes from 8 up to 15 days to finish the mask. You see, that's the step, how it comes. You can still see Ama working. This is the second part. The third part, the third step is you're gonna clean and cut the shape of the mask. And then once it's like this, posso prendere questa?
Sì, yes, yes.
Okay.
Is that one of the finish on the table?
Ah, okay, perfect. Lovely. And then you can paint it in white. White is the kind of basement of the mask. And once it's white, then starts the decoration process that goes, as I told you, from 8 up to 15 days. You have the color, the glitter, then drying, the gold leaf, and then drying, always drying. That's why it's so long. And that's why there are no more artisans, because then you sell a mask for 25, 30, the big ones even for 80 euros, but depends. This is considered one of the oldest crafts of Venice. And I'm very sad for this, because since I was a kid, I can see mask makers are kind of disappearing. Ama, he became super famous, even because the New York Times wrote an article about him last year or 2 years ago. I don't remember. Anyway, he says now he even makes more masks. He sells more masks than the one he makes, because it's a long process. So, you can continue to see Mr. Ama making the mask, and I will be completely at your disposal, first of all, for any question. First of all, before the question, I would like to show you the entire atelier of Ama. So, if you are interested in buying some of his masks, he can ship all over the world. You just do a screenshot of the mask you see here in the live. You do a screenshot, you circle the mask, you send us the mask, and we will send you the price plus the shipping cost. Shipping cost, of course, it depends if it's Europe, if it's US, but it's about 25, 30 euros per kilo. So I show you very slowly all the masks. You see this guy over here crying? You see the guy, he's Piero. Piero is crying because he was in love with Colombina. But Colombina, she didn't like him. Colombina, she was in love with Arlecchino. So then they sent him to play in Paris, and he was even missing Venice. That's why he's even crying more. This we have kind of simple masks, just representing with paintings, representing La Salute Church, the Healthy Church of Venice, or St. Mark's Basilica. Then we have La Bauta, we have Pinocchio mask for kids. We have the comedy and the tragedy to decorate a wall. And then, of course, the Doctor of the Plague, but here we have all the Colombina. I can show you even a picture of Colombina. You see how was dressed Colombina. And Colombina was dressing these masks for ladies. Plus, we have a kind of modern mask. This is a way the artist speaks to the public. You see, this mask is so strange. He's very sad with a hand on his face, like he doesn't want to see something. Plus, instead of the brain, he has the CPU of a computer. This is a message Mr. Ama, the mask maker, wanna send to us. This is to say that now in our brain we have too much technology. So we have an explosion of technology. We have to go back to the real elements of our normal life. We have to feel like Venetians were feeling in the past. They were only living life, celebrating and dancing without any problem. Free to show their personality as they were dressed in the mask. So in a city of big prejudices as Venice was in the past, they had no interest.
Finita il primo strato della maschera, vedi? E poi ci saranno...
Okay. Okay, so we lost a bit the connection as we were inside the atelier. I'm back here. We go into the middle of the square. Vieni. Andiamo.
Vai.
So I hope you really enjoyed the tour. I don't know if you were able, as I was speaking, if you were able to see the entire AMA atelier. Let me see all the comments. And in the meantime, we still do a little walk. So, were you able to see the mask maker atelier? La saponetta. Hello, were you able to see the mask maker atelier? Please say yes or no. Yes, they were able. Mask were stunning. Perfect. So I hope you have seen part of the mask. As inside AMA atelier we had no connection. I hope you had the kind of images. We're gonna make another video to be sure you have all the masks. So if you would like to buy, you are interested in some of AMA masks, you can simply send us a screenshot of the masks and we will tell you the cost and even the shipping cost of the mask. So I'm ready for all of your questions. How do you purchase the mask? We're gonna make now, we have already made a live video inside the atelier. So if you like any mask you like, we're gonna even take some pictures. We're gonna post in the few hours the picture of the main mask and of the walls. You simply circle the mask you like and you send us a screenshot of the mask you like. We will tell you the price and then we can even ship the mask. Okay? Now better, sadly to leave the shop. I know, it's so sad to leave the shop. But anyway, I hope you really enjoyed the first part of the mask atelier when I explained you the three main important masks. We have the Doctor of the Plague, La Bauta, the one dressed by Casanova, and La Moretta. So we are here ready for any question you have. I know it's very hard into these very narrow streets of the city. To USA too, yes, of course. We can ship the mask everywhere. Very often clients, they come to the atelier, they don't want to hang the masks. So the shipping cost to US is 30 euros per kilo. It means you can buy up to 5 masks and the shipping cost will be the same, will be always 30 euros plus the cost of the mask. I hope you enjoyed the entire walk and even the mask maker atelier. Very good question. The Maria of Carnival, unfortunately she couldn't come, but maybe I will show you Erica maybe in another live, because you know, it's the Maria, the Virgin of Carnival, so we had to book Erica. She was available for Friday, but Friday we had a storm, so today she is for another TV program. No, I'm joking. Okay, I'm ready for any question you have. Let me see.
Nice, man.
Beh, Tommy.
Beh, Luca, come sei? Tutto bene?
Tutto bene, tutto bene. Aspetta che sono live.
Ovvio. Ciao, buona.
You are traveling, thank you. You are traveling to Venice. We are in Venice. It doesn't look like Rome or Florence. This is Venice. Carnival, it changes every year, is always 40 days before Easter. So it's about 10 days. And every year it changes. And in the past was starting the 25th of December, now it's 40 days before Easter. So you have to check the Carnival program every year, the date will change. Yes, of course, there is a pizza place in Venice. We have, in the middle of, in the center, in the middle of San Mark district, we have Rosso Pomodoro, that's an important brand with pizza coming from Napoli, from Naples, but you can even have a great pizza at one of my favorite restaurants, Al Vecchio Pozzo. That's located in Santa Croce district. So if you go to Rosso Pomodoro, Red Tomato, you mostly enjoy a pizza with other tourists, as you are in San Mark. If you go to Al Vecchio Pozzo, the old well, you can have a pizza even with me, because I just live on the floor above the restaurant. I suggest you to visit Venice. Well, I really suggest you to come maybe this July, because the city is so empty. Now we can go all over the city when you can walk throughout the city whenever you want, simply dress in a mask. And now it's unique, the city, because it's so quiet and so empty. You can enjoy any part without tourists, without the crowds. If you come in the normal season, I suggest you more, let's say April, or the end of April, or even October. That's a good period. Yes, restaurants are open since yesterday, and we are back to normal life. You see, shops are opening, even if we don't have any tourists, but we hope flights will reopen again, I think the beginning of June, and we are very ready to welcome you, because the city you can really enjoy now will be something unusual that will not happen again in the next future, I hope. Hotels, they start to be open. Some are opening in the middle of, like in 10 days, but from June you're gonna find many hotels open. So you can really book a wonderful room overlooking the Grand Canal at a kind of cheap price. This is the best way to travel to visit Venice, because of the fares you will have. No, we haven't seen any dolphin. Well, I've seen once a dolphin, but I was in front of Lido Beach, because for dolphins it's so hard to come inside Venice in the Grand Canal. The canals are not so deep, so mostly they stay outside the lagoon. Okay, so I really hope I don't see any other questions. I give you like 2 minutes for other questions. And in the meantime, I would like to say thank you again to Travel Curious for this great opportunity they gave me to share my city through my eyes. And you have to follow the page Travel Curious Tours. And if you would like to tip any guide, or if you would like to assist other live videos all over, please just click staycurious.com. And you will find my first live, this second live, and other lives. And you will have even the opportunity to send me a tip. Thank you so much. Yes, nada. You can send a tip. You just click staycurious.tours and you can tip us. Thank you, Alessio. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed some secrets of the city. Even some secrets that Venetians they have never seen. Staycurious.tours, yes. Staycurious.tours for the tips, and Staycurious.tours to watch the first live video with an historical view of Venice on the Grand Canal, and even to watch other lives and other guides walking all over the world, in the main cities of the world. Thanks again for your attention. A big kiss to all of you. You can see my face for the last time. Thanks to Giovanni, our video maker. Ciao ciao. Dalla bocca del leone, from the mouth of the lion. Wow, we say ciao. Ciao ciao.